See me better now? Why am I making this video? Well, do you know, sometimes you just don't need to spend £4,000, £5,000 on camera equipment. Sometimes you just need to buy what's going to do and get you past, and this video is all about that. 3 lenses that I bought with my own money that I've used over the last number of years and that I think are absolutely perfect for wedding photographers. Now, disclaimer, I have more lenses, probably more than I need. I don't always use these 3 lenses. I have done for periods. For some reason I will use prime lenses for a few months and then switch back to zooms and use them for a few months. Don't ask me why. I think maybe possibly something to do with laziness at times. Other times I just think that, you know, let's not get into that. The main reason for this video is for me to show you how these 3 cheap Sony lenses are perfect for you shooting weddings. I have to go over here because the lenses are over here. So, 3 lenses. I'm going to tell you why I think these are the best 3 lenses you can buy on a limited budget for wedding photography. Now, before I get into this, obviously if you spend more money, you know, in Sony lenses, you're going to get better quality lenses. But the purpose of this video is for me to show you these ones that I feel are just such good value for money. Okay, so number 1, well, I'll tell you all 3 first of all. So, to me, if you have these 3 lenses in your kit bag, you can get by shooting, you know, a full wedding from bridal preparations right through to the dancing. These are all primes. There's the 35mm 1.8, also the 55mm 1.8, and yep, you guessed it, the 85 1.8. All amazing lenses for not too much money. So I bought all 3 of these, and I think here in the UK it was about £1,500 or £1,600 for all of them. And you know what, like, they have served me so well for the last 3 or 4 years. Don't get me wrong, I have bought other lenses, but that's more to do with an addiction that most photographers seem to have. You probably have it too if you're watching this video. So but cracking lenses. Start off with a 35. If you're shooting weddings, like a lot of photographers use 35 on their camera most of the day. This, you know, 1.8 lens, it's great for, you know, that real shallow depth of field, and you know, lets in a lot more light than, you know, if you were to buy like an f4 lens or even an f2.8 lens. So it's really great for that. The bokeh on this lens, you know, is actually really decent. I know that's what everybody's about these days, is the bokeh, but it really is. And what I really like about this is not only the image quality and the bokeh, but also how fast the focusing lens this is. It's fast, and also you can actually focus fairly close. So, you know, I'm not one to be having macro lens on a wedding. I just think the less lens changing on a wedding day, the better. And for me, this lens is really the go-to lens for most of the day. You're shooting all the documentary style stuff throughout the whole day, and also if you want to get a shot of close-ups like wedding rings, or quite often here in the UK you would have the bride having like a pendant on her flowers, maybe in memorial of somebody, so it's good for getting a real close-up of that without having to change lenses into a macro lens, which for me is just pointless on a wedding day. So yeah, that's a real good go-to lens, and in around 400 or 500 quid is such a good lens. It really is. And by the way, if you're looking technical things in this channel, that's just not me. I'll just tell you if it's good or if it's crap. This is really good. This is as simple as it gets. Lens number 2, 55. Now, very similar in terms of, you know, being a great lens. This is also really good quality lens. For me, this is more for using portraits. I would use this if I have a bride or groom, a couple out shooting their portraits. I would put this lens on my second camera and use that for, you know, closer stuff for taking pictures of the bride on her own, stuff that I need to get that wee bit closer. Another 1.8 lens, really beautiful. Sorry, it's a 55mm lens, so just a wee bit more than what you're used to if you're used to a 50, but an amazing go-to lens. For me, I would keep these two lenses on my cameras, so I use two camera setup. I would put these two on my cameras. I have them on a belt on me at all times, and I would shoot probably the majority of a wedding with these two lenses. And then number 3, which is the 85mm version, 1.8 again. All these lenses are, you know, in around £400, £500, £600, and they're just unreal. I can't remember the exact price of them. I'll maybe put I'll put a link in the description for all these lenses, and you can check out the price yourself. But 85mm lens, I would use this for mainly in a church or for speeches. Sometimes I would use this for portraits. I know, like, this is people's go-to portrait lens. I'm not really a big fan. I think it's a bit too far away for me. I like being up close to a couple. I like shooting quite close to them. I'm always interacting with them and talking to them. And for me, if I'm like 10 meters back shooting with this here, it's a wee bit like, hi over there, you know, can you hear me? Just not really the vibe I'm looking for. I would prefer to be up close, talking to them, getting them into a position and getting quick shots, really snappy, moving on to the next shot. And to me, that just doesn't work for me. But if I'm inside a bigger church, I would be using this lens, or if I'm doing speeches, I would use this lens. If you're using Sony cameras, sorry, I can't talk about any other camera brand because I haven't used any in years. So for me, I have my custom 3 button on Sony set to go into crop mode. So if I'm using this lens or any lens and need to get that bit further, I just simply go into crop mode and go in a wee bit closer. Yes, I know you're reducing the file size and you're essentially just cropping, but it's great for getting in that wee bit further. And to be honest, I actually hate cropping in post-production. Like, I rarely crop a picture. I frame everything in camera. For me, getting it right in camera is essential, so I use that crop feature and a custom function button when I need to get in closer. But another amazing lens. Okay, so I've taken hundreds of thousands of images with these lenses. I'm probably not wrong. I've been using them since 2019, I believe, 2020 maybe, and I've shot many weddings since then. So great lenses. Listen, if you're into pixel peeping, if you're going to go into the corners of the image and check sharpness and different things, like, you know, I don't know if these lenses are for you, but if you want to do a good job, put it like this: your customers are not pixel peepers, so I don't see any reason why you should be. And for me, these are just cracking lenses. They will get you amazing images, and yeah, for me, 35 for those landscape portraits, showing a wee bit more of the landscape and up close, because you can focus up close. Also, macro shots is great with this lens. Great just overall documentary lens. 55 for in that wee bit closer portraits, and also maybe getting closer on during the wedding ceremony. And if it's a bigger church and you need to stand a bit further back, then for me, the 85. Cracking lenses, happy days. That's all I really need to explain to you today. So yeah, hopefully that was interesting. Probably wasn't, but that's just me. I'm not a very interesting person. But that's my view. I must say to you that I actually use, well, I did say to you a minute ago that I use prime lenses on some weddings, and other times I use zoom. Listen, it's not like I switch from one wedding to the other and use prime and not. I actually go through phases where I would use like zoom lenses for a while. I'm talking about maybe 6 months, and then one day I will just take this Notion. Do you know what? It's probably more in winter time whenever I'm needing a bit more light in the lens, that I would use the primes more. So, but you know, sometimes I get frustrated with, you know, being 35 and needing to go a bit wider, and you know, for me, that sways me sometimes for using a zoom lens that has a bit of a wider capability. But anyway, that's just me. That's me. I'm all over the place at times. And yeah, cool. Hope you enjoyed that. See you in the next video. Ciao for now.